This story is based on a real incident that took place in the Gulf of Mexico. Four friends set out on a deep-sea fishing trip into the ocean, but due to one mistake, they get trapped in the middle of a terrifying storm. With scorching sun above, no drinking water, and no help in sight. Will they return alive, or will the ocean swallow everything? Let's begin. At the start of the story, four close friends head out on an exciting deep-sea fishing trip. The truth is, even before leaving, they had heard about changing weather. But the boat captain believes they will return safely before the storm hits. Corey gives everyone a waterproof pouch so their phones don't get ruined by seawater. At 6:30 in the morning, they set off from the Gulf of Mexico, and after sailing for a full 4 hours, they finally reached their spot. This area was not new to the captain, because whenever he had time, he would come here alone to fish, apart from practice. The captain enjoys standing before the endless sea, watching and listening to the natural symphony created by the waves. Corey and Will also slowly begin to feel this sensation. In an instant, 4 hours pass. Then thunder in the distance shatters their joy. As they try to pull up the anchor and return, a big problem arises. While pulling, the anchor accidentally gets stuck in the underwater rocks. No matter how hard Corey pulls, it's useless. At that moment, they had no idea what had really happened below. If they had simply changed the boat's direction and pulled again, the problem would have been solved instantly. But no one notices this. Everyone thinks the strength of the four of them will be enough. Even after many attempts, the anchor doesn't budge. At this critical moment, the captain doesn't want to cut the rope and lose the anchor. Panicking, he starts the engine and tries to pull the anchor free using the motor's power. During this, everyone's eyes are on the water's surface, but no one sees the terrifying waves coming from behind. By the time the captain realizes, it's already too late. The sudden disaster gives no one time to react, and the boat completely capsizes. Luckily, all four knew how to swim, so no one is injured. Flipping the boat may seem easy, but righting it proves extremely difficult. Whether two people push from opposite sides or all four try together on one side, the boat won't turn upright. They even start thinking maybe the rope is having the opposite effect. The captain grabs the rope and, without thinking, cuts it with the propeller. He no longer cares about the anchor sinking in the sea. Even after the rope is removed, their efforts remain useless against the surging waves. Before they know it, 5 hours have passed. Staying in the cold water for so long, everyone starts shivering badly. One by one, they dive underwater to find useful things. Someone brings back a life jacket. Someone luckily finds a crucial signal flare. Nick also finds the waterproof phone pouch. Along with joy, a bitter truth emerges. In this desolate stretch of ocean, there is not a single signal bar on the phone. Bad weather reports keep running on TV, so their families are living in fear, and all four of their phones are completely unreachable. Finally, after talking it over, they decide to notify the police. When the Coast Guard learns of their condition, experienced Captain John immediately understands the severity of the situation. Captain John explains that seawater destroys the human body from the inside. It affects the heart. The lungs begin to weaken. The body's electrical system starts to fail. Movement slows down. The mind starts to go blank. Due to lack of oxygen, a person slips into a state of madness. Diseases close in, and eventually death becomes a real possibility. These conditions are extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, in this moment of crisis, the captain's wife gets information from a GPS he had used before. Even though they now have coordinates in near zero visibility, even if a helicopter repeatedly flies low, risking its own crew, nothing can be seen. On top of that, after drifting in the waves for many hours, the four men have moved far from their original location. The rescue operation grinds to a complete halt for a while. As time passes, conditions keep getting worse. Corey begins showing signs of mental disturbance. Even more dangerous than that was the fact that when hypothermia reaches a severe level, the body starts having strange reactions. When body temperature stays low for a long time, the nervous system gets suppressed. The person begins to feel a delusion of heat and starts acting bizarrely. The captain, having lost his senses, is no longer in any condition to withstand storms or waves. A powerful wave sweeps him away completely, disappearing somewhere into the depths. As soon as the captain vanishes, the remaining three break down. But then they spot an aircraft searching for them, and for the first time they see hope of surviving alive. Unfortunately, in their efforts to save their companion earlier, they had already used up all the signal flares. Two people shout at the top of their lungs while Nick quickly turns on his phone's flashlight. But in such poor visibility, among raging seas, finding a few humans was like searching for a needle in the ocean. On top of that, the aircraft itself was in constant danger. After searching for a long time, the rescue team is forced to turn back. The faint light they had seen, the rescue team mistakes for lightning. And just like that, the three miss another golden opportunity. That night was not a night for anyone to sleep. The families kept praying continuously, and the Coast Guard team did not give up either. The next plan was to send a large rescue helicopter, but amid the relentless onslaught of waves, Corey also gets lost somewhere in the ocean. Now only 2 people remain. They have no option but helpless screams, and they themselves don't know how much longer they can hold on. Nick wants to take off his jacket and give it to Will so he can stay warm, but Will refuses, as if the trouble wasn't enough. Suddenly, a shark strikes the boat, and Will nearly falls into the sea. Both hold their breath and cling to each other. No one dares to move. Every passing moment makes Will feel like he is slowly moving toward death. Nick just holds his friend tightly and starts shouting the slogans they used in training to keep up their spirits. Strong winds and high waves crash over them again and again. Each time they try to pull themselves back to the boat. The strength of both, already broken, is slowly fading. No one knows whether they will even remain on the surface in the next moment. Meanwhile, the aircraft searching for them is still empty-handed. Captain John had placed his last hope on the helicopter, but from there, too, the same answer came. Nothing found. During their time stranded, despite the freezing cold, Will dives inside the boat and brings out a floatboard, which could help save a little strength. He also finds some snacks and water, but these only give energy for a short while. The situation does not change. What happens next is even scarier. Will sees a faint light in the distance. Both think maybe land is near, but when they try to make a call, there's still no signal on the phone. If it were a hallucination, they wouldn't both see the light at the same time. The meaning was clear. It was the light of some ship. Now they did not want to lose this chance at any cost. Both immediately start swimming toward that light, but after swimming for a long time in the cold water, neither the light is visible, nor can they see each other. Even their small boat behind them disappears from sight. Without the boat, surviving much longer in such conditions was impossible. Gathering what little strength remains, they try to swim back to the same place where that boat, their last hope, is. Finally, they return to the boat, but by then their strength is completely exhausted. After 30 hours stranded in the sea, Nick notices a strange change in Will's behavior. Will just sits silently and mutters broken words. Nick understands that this is a clear sign of hypothermia. At this point, no reassurance or encouragement can help. Nick is just about to take off his jacket when another big wave hits. Will, having lost his senses, starts feeling a delusion of intense heat. He begins tearing off his clothes. Nick tries his best to stop him, but the outcome cannot be changed. Perhaps due to extreme exhaustion or helplessness against the cold, Nick can only watch as his friend slowly disappears into the raging waves. Captain John had been continuously engaged in the search operation without sleep for a full day and night. He kept encouraging his team. Hold on a little longer. Maybe the next moment will bring a miracle. On the other side, the night of the second day had become the ultimate test for Nick, both physically and mentally. It was no longer a wait for rescue, but rather felt like silently waiting for his own death. On the morning of the third day, that is, after being trapped at sea for a full 42 hours, their families had still received no news. Deep down, everyone had an idea of what the situation must be, but no one was ready to accept that truth. Nick, having lost his senses, slowly lies down on the boat and begins to untie the rope tied around his waist. He had given up mentally, ready to let go of life. But just then, the weather starts to clear. The wind calms down, the waves also subside a little, and at that very moment, hope finally appears again. Hurry, get him onto the aircraft. At last, Nick, who had been swinging between life and death, is successfully rescued. When Captain John calls the family to give the news, it's hard to imagine what the mother must have gone through. For a long time, she cannot gather the courage to pick up the phone. The wife's heartbeats quicken. She was afraid that she might hear bad news from the other end. When the mother finally picks up the phone, the truth comes out. Joy and sorrow collide at the same time. But when the phones of the other families ring, no one can know how painful it must have been for them to face this truth. The rescue team searched for the other 3 for many days but found no trace. Finally, the search operation had to be called off. The first to go missing was the captain, a brilliant American football player. His memorable moments on the field will never be seen again. The second was Corey. He was also an excellent player, someone who gave powerful performances in every match, the strongest of the 4. The third was Will, for whom football was just a hobby. In reality, he was from the finance world. The only survivor of this incident was Nick. This is a true story from 2009, when he was rescued. Nick surviving alive was not just a matter of luck, but the result of the continuous efforts of the rescue team, the hard work of every Coast Guard employee. Still, we have to admit that Nick was extremely lucky. If even the slightest thing had gone wrong during those 2 days, the outcome could have been even more terrible. If you enjoyed today's story, please like the video and be sure to subscribe to our channel.